Is the Comprehensive Maths walkthrough for Paper 2 for Edexcel from November 2023. First page, don't overcomplicate. Always stick with the basics. I prefer to list my factors of a number in pairs. So obviously you could have gone for 9 2s and you could have gone for 3 6s. Any pair doesn't have to be a pair, but I just prefer to stick with it that way. 0.9, don't forget primary school, place value. 9 is in the tenths column, so just say it out loud. 9 tenths. Going from meters to centimeters. Centimeters are smaller, so you get a lot more of them. And when you convert cent, it's 100. So we get 700. Square numbers, 3 choices here. 5 5s, 6 6s, brow plump for 7 times 7. Number 5 definitely falls into the don't overcomplicate. Obviously, you've got a calculator. 50% means halve the number. You could go for the 10% route, but when it's only worth a mark and you've got a calculator, why would you bother? Same here. Might seem a simple calculation, but use your calculator. 50 divided by 4 brings out 12.5 is what your calculator will say. Don't forget to put the naught on for £12.50. Question 7. That's called a cone. And there's plenty of ways to draw your triangle at the front. Doesn't matter what type of triangle you've drawn, as long as it goes off into the third dimension, like so. Question 8. Curtis needs some items, so footballs, he wants 5 of them, so we need to times that by 5. So on your calculator, £47.50. 6 hockey sticks, you're getting £30, 2 for £30, so you want 3 lots of that, giving you £90. Cricket bats, £23 each, there's 2 of them, so that's £46. And tennis balls, just the £5 worth. And obviously, on your calculator, add all that together, £188.50. Show that Curtis can buy all the items he needs. So if you want to be a bit more watertight, Curtis will have £11.50 in change. Number 9, listing outcomes. Be systematic. So pair the white with each one. So WP, WS, WC. Then move on to blue. BP, BS, BC, GP, GS, and GC. Don't have to be in that order, but being systematic means you've got a better chance of not missing anything out. As long as you've got all 9 with no repeats and nothing missing, it's all good for the 2 marks. Number 10, ratio. Don't forget order is important. So it's asking for red to blue. So you want to go with the red first and the blue second. Now you can use your calculator to cancel things down. Just treat it like a fraction really, even though it's not the same thing. All right, they are connected, but they're not the same, but you can use your calculator to cancel things down. And moving on. Question 11, a fair 6-sided dice. So chances of landing on a number 3. So it's obviously possible. It's not even though it's not 0.5, 50-50, or that's not the greatest way of explaining it. It's a 1 in 6 chance. and a 1 in 6 chance we class as unlikely. It will land on an odd number, so 1, 3 and 5 being the odd numbers, 2, 4 and 6 being the even numbers. So this is your 3 out of 6 chance. And number 12, if a car is travelling at an average speed 37 miles in 1 hour, then in 3 hours it will be travelling 3 times as far. So take your 37 on your calculator, times it by 3. I'm getting 111 miles. Moving on to question 13. The area is 400. Explain what is wrong with Milo's method, or Milo, depending on your pronunciation. I'm Welsh. So sometimes the best way to show how someone's done something wrong is do it right. So I would just simply go with this, that the area is just 5 times 4. Just keep it simple. And you works out the area of a shape. Her answer is 86 centimetres. Explain why her answer cannot be fully correct. Area. So basically, people, she can't be right fully. The 86 could be, but the unit should be. It's a unit mark. That's what Anya's done wrong. Question 14. Not the wordiest of wordy questions, but certainly many steps required. But again, like I always say, one thing at a time. Just look at that top line. Don't read ahead. 3 kilograms of flour costs £4, 5 pence. So 1 kilogram of flour, 4.05 divided by 3 gives us £1.35 for 1 kilogram of flour. Then it moves straight on to 5 kilograms of flour. So let's stick with that. Don't read ahead. Times that by 5, giving us £6.75. For the 5 kilograms of flour. Now this flour and some sugar cost £11.85. So we need to do £11.85. Take away the £6.75. £11.85 minus A&S, giving us £5.10. This £5.10 is what 6 kilograms of sugar cost. We want 1 kilogram of sugar. So we divide it by 6, giving us 85 pence for 1 kilogram of sugar. So now we can go back to actually getting round to answering the question. Work out the cost of 2 kilograms of flour. So take your 1 kilogram. All right. Find out. Double it. £2.70. 5 kilograms of sugar. 5 times 0.85 gives us £4.25. Giving us total cost £6.95. Not the wordiest, but certainly lots of steps required to get that one sorted. Question 15. Martha and Nabil share £120. Not a lot we can do. Martha gets 72% of the money. Stop. 72%. of means times. So on your calc, 72 divided by 100 times 120 gives me £86.40. He spends 30% of the money she gets. So 30% of that cash. So we'll take that amount. Oops. £86.40 to get 30% of it. 30 divided by 100 times by £86.40 gives us £25.92. That's how much she spends. So how much does she have left? Take them away. £86.40 minus £25.92 gives us £60. Ooh, £60.48. Obviously, there was a quicker way than that. Could have used multipliers, as in 0.72, depends on your strengths. Could have gone the quick way here, and just instead of saying someone spent 30%, could have gone for the fact that she was left with 70%. But either way, as long as you get the right answer, it's all good. Now, question 18. Monster of a question, no pun intended. Now, it's a case of there is way too much information going on in this. Look at all them numbers. So much information. Sometimes you could think Venn diagram, you could think probability tree, etc., and so on. But when you've got loads of information like that, only one thing will work. Two-way table. So, children and adults with totals at the bottom. 160 people were asked. So there's going to be 160 down there. Tick. 85 of these were children. Tick. The rest were adults. Do a subtraction. 75 are adults. Then we look, are there two types of books or three? So we've got romance, adventure, horror or thriller. Romance, adventure, horror, thriller. In other words, four types of books. 19 of the 33 people, so 33 people who chose romance. 19 were children, so 14 were adults. 34 of the 76 people who chose adventure were adults. So do a subtraction. We've got 42 people, 42 children. We've gone for adventure. 7 adults chose thriller. So before you read on, we've got a column. 75 minus 14 minus 34 minus 7 means there are 20 adults going for horror. The number of children who chose thriller was the same as the number of adults who chose horror. So we can stick a 27 in there. We can do a subtraction. 160 minus 27 minus 76 minus 33 to give us 24 in there. Always worth the following double check. So I'm going to put a 4 in there, but before I read ahead, let's make sure these four add up to 85. So 19 added to 42, added to 4, added to 20, gives us the 85 as required. So double checked and verified. Work out the total number of people who chose horror. There we go. 24. Way too much information to be doing it any other way than a two-way table. So, stem and leaf for number 17, pretty bog standard, nothing to catch you out. Personally, I always like to get the key done straight away. So I'll just take the first bit of information, 16/8, means 168 centimetres for the sunflower. Now they give you plenty of room, use it. Use it for one in rough. 168, so 16 with an 8, 173, 172, 180, 162, 191, 183, 160, 178, 184, 197, 177, 172, 186, 188, 180. So it just so happened that my spine turned out to be correct. And now we reorder each line. Firstly, with the lowest nearest the spine, and as you move down the lines, make sure you allocate the same amount of space. So 17 is going to go 2, 2, 3, 7, 8. 0, 0, 3, 4. 8, 8 on the end. And 1, 9, 1, 7. 16 sunflowers, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, just to make sure you've not missed anything out. On to question 18. All on a calculator, but I'm sure your teachers will have nagged you when you put it into a calculator. Open the brackets first, use your fraction button, as long as you know how to do it. Otherwise, simply use a divide, do top divided by bottom, but do not forget to put the brackets in. So on the bottom, I'm just typing in, I'll open a bracket just to be sure, 4.2 times 2.1. It says write out all the displays, so the whole lot has to go on. 1.88208668. 2 decimal places. The third decimal place is a 2, so it levels off. On to question 19. One of those angles questions that doesn't look very friendly. Always avoid the waffle. No need to worry about all this. You've got all the information you need on the diagram. Start filling things in. Try and spot. This is an equilateral triangle. You must give a reason for each stage. I'm not going to write it out. You can do it in your own words. But equilateral triangle, all angles are 60 degrees. Here we've got a quadrilateral, four-sided shape. 90 degrees goes in there. And then, what's most important here, difficult to spot, but we have parallel lines. So it's one of those awkward situations where you've got to make sure you spot. They're never great, particularly when I'm drawing them, but they're never great when they're not as long as you'd like them to be. So when you've got these parallel lines, you've got your old friend here, alternate angles. So all those are also 60 degrees because you've got alternate angles are equal. And to finish off with, angles in a quadrilateral make 360 degrees. So 360 minus the 90, minus the 132, and minus the 60 to give you your final answer of 78, as long as it's supported with valid reasons. So you know these are coming. You should be prepared for them. Always cropping up with very few exceptions. It's a positive x squared. It's a U shape. It's symmetrical, as should the grid be. Always sub in the easy numbers first. Not a lot easier than sticking in a 0. And boom, we've got line of symmetry. So the 4 reflects over here, and we can work this one out and fill 2 gaps for the price of 1. So 2 squared, take away 2, take away another 2, gives us a 0 in both of them. So I'm not going to be the best at this. Poor workman blaming his tools, but it's just a fact. I'm doing it on one of these dodgy electronic boards, and I am rubbish at it. But let's give it a bash anyway. Try and be as smooth as possible. If yours is worse than mine, you've got to do it again. On to question 21. Now, as you can see, very tempting for a rotation, but it's the wrong way around. If A fell on its side, if you rotated A that way, it would actually be that way up. So tempting to put rotation, but no. It is a reflection. In the line y equals negative x. It's a downhill. Question 22. Good old algebra. You know it's coming. Yes, there's 2 brackets. No, it's not a quadratic. They're separated with a plus or minus, so you can expand them as if you're dealing with 2 separate questions. So 6y and minus 15, 7y and positive 14. So simplify your y's first. Everything's positive. And be careful on these. You've got a debt of £15, credit of 14. You are still in debt. £1. Factorising, but because it's not x squared plus x's plus a number, it's a 1 bracket job. Focus on the numbers first. They're in the 3 times table. 3 2s are 6. 3 5s are 15. Numbers done. Oh, but there's an x in each one, so we can take out an x. We need another x here, so that multiplying out gives us the x squared. And finally with G, changing the subject, rearranging or transposition, however you know it as, it's all about doing opposites. To make G the subject, leave G where it is. And teachers have different standards, different sayings. When I was always taught at school, change the side, change the sign, or just take away 11 from both sides. We want G to be the subject, not 3G. So that left-hand side, now my right-hand side, needs dividing by the 3. Number 23, we have a Karen. So they tell us what she spends. So before you read on, £100 on food, 120 on a haul, £80 on DJ. She has spent £300. She sells 54 tickets at £7.50 a ticket. Up comes the calculator, £7.50 times 54. I'm getting £405. So don't forget the formula for percentage profit. It's actual profit, £105, terrible 5. Let's do that again. Divided by original amount, multiplied by 100, 105 over 300 times by 100. 35% profit. Not bad for a day's work. Number 24. Again, you know these are coming. Make sure you're prepared. Investment of £4,500. If something's increased by 3% a year, your multiplier is 1.03. But there's an extra 4 on the end, and it's over 2 years. So 4500 times 1.034 to the power of 2. What's 4500 times 1.034 squared? Gives us 4811.202. But we need the pence, not the bits on the end. So round off. Number 25, solving opposites. Never like negative x's, always tell my classes to get rid of those. So job 1, add an x to the left-hand side. We've done nothing to the minus 14. On the right-hand side, the minus x has disappeared. Add 14 to both sides. So we get 14 plus 52, 66. Divide by 6. We're getting 11 for x. So very wordy for question 26. That means get it organised and its ratio. So order is important. First job, get the details nice and simplified here. Debbie gets 120. Do a divide. 120 divided by 4 means there is a multiplier of 30. So Chris is getting the £90 and Errol's getting 60. But most importantly, that means there is a total of £270 between these 3 friends. The third line then tells you that some money is going in that direction. That makes the new ratio 2 to 5 to 3. So essentially, it's now a bog standard ratio question. Share £270 between these 3 people. There's 10 shares. £270 divided by 10 means each share is £27. We're only really bothered on the money from Chris to Errol. So 3 lots of 27 means Errol's now got £81. He did have £60, so he's now got £21. Question 27, a bearings question. If there's no diagram, draw one. Doesn't matter if it's accurate or not. Port A, north line. There's A. 90 degrees is east, so 147, somewhere down there. like so. Meaning, co-interior angles, that measurement there and that angle there should add up to 180. So that angle is 33. But that's not the answer. Don't forget with bearings, they are measured clockwise from north. So that arrow is the angle you are after. So it is 360 minus 33, 327 degrees. 28 cylinders, you know they're coming, always revise them. It says cylinder, it says water. We are dealing with volume. Volume equals pi r squared multiplied by the height. So let's get on with that, while also reminding ourselves that 1 centimetres cubed is 1 milliliter. Going to be needing that very shortly. So pi times 15 squared times by 43. Going to get some big number. My calc will do it in terms of pi, so I'll just leave it as that for now. So it's 9,675 pi centimetres cubed, which just so happens to be 9,675 pi millilitres. So I'm going to convert that to litres. So I divide by 1,000. Now I'm getting 30.394, and it goes on, and that's in litres. So we've got 0.47 litres per minute. How many of those go into that? That's a divide. Divided by 0.47. Give your answer correct to the nearest minute. Well, I'm getting 64.67 minutes. That'll be 65 then. Question 29, another question you know is coming up. SOHCAHTOA, get your labels sorted. The hypotenuse is the longest side. It's the one opposite the right angle, opposite to 49, adjacent to 49, and we're being asked to find AB. So as you can see, adjacent is definitely involved in this question. So is O. Hypotenuse has no business. So this is a TOA question. Cover up what you need. You're after the opposite. These are next to each other. It's a times. So it's tan of the angle multiplied by 28. Now, if you don't have any luck with this, do make sure you're careful with your calculator's brackets. Maybe even, if you're totally unsure, bring the 28 to the front and do 28 multiplied by tan 49. But if you get the answer 32.21 and so on, whatever you're doing is correct. To 3 significant figures, there's a 1, so we level it off. Finally, yet another one. You know they're coming. Simultaneous equations, elimination method. You could make the x's the same, but don't be daft. Much easier to make the y's the same. So 3x trebled, 1y trebled, negative 4.5 trebled. The second equation, we're leaving that well alone. Because you made the y's the same, they're both positive, same sign, subtract, and of all the awkward numbers that could have happened, you're actually getting a nice answer for x. On your calc, negative 13.5 minus 3.5, giving you the answer that x is minus 2. I'll take the top equation. 3x's mean 3 times negative 2, so that's negative 6, plus y equals negative 4.5. Again, just like an earlier solving question, add 6 to both sides. Use your calcs if you need. Hope that helps. See you on the next one.